For over a decade, the gaming industry has been chasing a dream. But for many gamers, that has been a nightmare. It's not been a dream about making the best games, a dream about making unforgettable worlds or characters that live with you long in the memory. It's been a dream about making the next cash cow, the next Genshin Impact, the next forever game. And after billions of dollars, countless cancelled projects, studio closures, layoffs, and some of the biggest failures in gaming history, their dream appears to be dying, and our dream seems to be coming back to life. If the game shows of the last week tell you anything about the gaming industry, then it seems like, and whisper it quietly, they are learning their lesson. If there's one thing these billionaire, trust fund-backed companies hate more than they love making money, is losing money. And with the huge losses, even from well-known studios, with the track history of making great games, it seems like the industry has made a conscious decision to pivot. And to me at least, it just might be ushering in the next golden age of gaming. Now I know in the algorithmic negative world of YouTube, that probably isn't a take most people are wanting to hear. They just want to be angry. But I'm telling you right now, with these console prices rising, costs of video games rising, and the big video game console developers lurching back to console exclusives to sell said consoles, there has to be a focus on giving gamers what they want and at a quality level that differentiates themselves from the competition. With free time being at a premium for people whose bosses seem intent on increasing their hours and reducing their pay, there literally is not time or money for dedicating yourself to one live service game, never mind two, or being able to purchase 2 or 3 games without knowing beforehand that those games are worth your money. As Karl Marx once said, all you have is your labor and your wallet. Well, you may not have said the second half, but if there's one thing we all know, these companies love our wallets. And judging by what all these showcases have shown us in the last week, is that there is a conscious return to well-written, immersive, story-driven video games. Hopefully take advantage of the technology on offer and the cost equation that we all have to consider when taking part in this hobby we love. The casualty list is staggering. Anthem, Marvel's Avengers, Babylon's Fall, which in my opinion was the worst of the lot. That says a lot. Suicide Squad, Concord, Hyenas, The Last of Us Online, the cancelled but never seen God of War live service games, and the many other dozens we will never hear about. And without a doubt, we are feeling the shockwaves of those cancellations now, and even so, we are still getting good games coming through. Just imagine what it could have been like if they'd never gone down that path of investing in those live service games. And this is what I mean, where I feel like in a few years, we are really going to see the payoff for all the mistakes the industry has made and the way they have learned from those mistakes. Some launches failed, others never released, some consumed 5 years of people's lives in development, others consumed maybe a decade, burning through millions, maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars, and the casualties were not even unknown studios. They were sure bets that big companies gambled on: BioWare, Rocksteady, Naughty Dog, Creative Assembly. Yet even they, with all their talent, couldn't force players into a new live service ecosystem, because players either already had one or just do not have time for any. As we grow older, we get more and more time poor, and I feel like we look more for time efficiency than we do for a forever game. That's certainly my experience in my life. Talking to friends, it feels like the same for them. Yes, we had our time with Destiny. Players had played Fortnite. But I feel like once you've had your fill of the cultural behemoth that is that live service game, you're ready to move on. Once you do, it's difficult to look back at other live service games. I said in my Destiny video that I stopped playing Destiny because it let me enjoy video gaming as a whole, rather than just Destiny. And I can't help but feel that applies to other people too. And eventually the market spoke. Here's the thing though, the gaming industry didn't suddenly wake up one day and decide to change direction. Players forced the change with their wallets. Because in the end, it's all well and good having Twitch numbers and people watching a streamer, but at the end of the day, they are not spending money in the game. It might be cool to watch someone playing that game for the numbers and it may look good, but that isn't making you any money unless they are all investing in that game as well. Tweets don't matter, forum posts, YouTube comments. It's just cold, hard money that matters. I mean, take for example Capcom, who this year seemingly have a free run at immersive single-player story games and are being rightly praised for it. And I'm sure their sales numbers will reflect it in a big way. And when players started showing up for immersive single-player experiences, industry seems to have noticed. Take into account the Summer Game Festivals this week. 10 years ago, Final Fantasy Resonant would have been a live service game on consoles. Instead, they have taken a live service game and turned it into a single-player narrative-driven game. It's literally the opposite of what it was 5 years ago. But if this proves anything, is that it is not hopeless to fight against what feels like inevitable change. When we spend our money, it matters. Where we spend our time, it matters. Who we support matters. The market isn't an abstract force. It's millions of individuals like me and you who make decisions, and we are just ordinary people. And eventually, if there's enough of those decisions, it's impossible to ignore. I think it would be remiss of me not to imagine what could have been. Would we have had a new Naughty Dog game this generation if they hadn't been forced to make a Last of Us Online? Almost certainly yes. We would have at the very least had their new game The Heretic Prophet out, or a new Uncharted game. Maybe we would have had a new Mass Effect game, or a new Batman Arkham game. Imagine all the games that never got greenlit because resources were tied up chasing a money pot. We'll never know exactly what was lost, but it's difficult not to wonder. Or maybe games execs will go back to the list of games they cancelled to chase live service and give them a chance. So is it copium thinking that the next golden age is coming? I really don't think it is. For years, gaming has felt trapped in a cycle of battle passes, roadmaps, premium currencies that lead to more currencies, none of which make any sense, almost confusing the player into spending money, retention strategies. I feel like we really are emerging from that era. And life and society often goes in cycles, and it feels like we are on the back end of the live service cycle, and we are going more into the single player, story driven experience cycle. I hope I'm right. So the technology coming in the next video game console cycle, I think we could see some really special stuff. Because the gold rush is over. The easy money never existed. And after years of chasing the next one in a million phenomenon, the industry appears to be rediscovering something remarkably simple. People love great games. And great games don't need to last forever. They need to be memorable. If this shift continues, the current generation may still have a few surprises left, and the next generation could be special. Because developers may finally, after almost 10 years, be allowed to make games they actually want to make. End of the day, developers are gamers. The gamers know what they want. So don't forget, players vote every day. Not with words, with their wallets, but always continue to do so. I mean, just off the top of my head, games that genuinely blew me away at the game shows this year and this summer were the obvious ones such as Gen Atlas, Final Fantasy VII, which I'm a huge fan of the remakes, Alien Isolation 2, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game by Platinum Games, thank God they're not making live service games anymore, 1666 Odyssey, a Wolf Among Us sequel, Stranger Than Heaven, and Crossfire, which is made by Smilegate, who made Lost Ark, a game I actually really loved, which was terribly monetized though, to the point where I'd say it was abusive in some ways. But yeah, they're obviously taking their Crossfire franchise, the Crossfire license they have, and they turn it into a single player game, which kind of just sums up everything I'm saying with where we're at the moment. You've got games like Clockwork Revolution, I believe it's called, the Xbox game, Gears, Plague Tale Resonance, which is a slightly different take on the normal Plague Tale games. But yeah, they're just a plethora of them. And as I said, this is off the backdrop of failed projects to the cost of hundreds of millions of pounds. And that's not really. That's what I really wanted to talk about, was just how the games showcase this summer really give me hope that we have turned a corner, that we are no longer about monetizing and live servicing absolutely every IP we can, and that the industry has realized gamers just don't want that shit anymore. I look forward to the golden age of single player, story driven, atmospheric, beautifully realized environmental games that immerse you, that help you escape your day-to-day life, and more than anything, live long in the memory rather than live long on your credit card statement. That's all I've got to say about that. Take care everyone, peace, subscribe. I think you meant to ask people to subscribe on this thing, so please do. Bye.